Good afternoon, and I'm back with my mentor, Mr. Irvin, again. He's giving me feedback for standard number 9, and the guiding question for that was, how does the candidate engage in professional learning opportunities and use evidence to evaluate his or her teaching practice as a bias for self-examination or meeting the needs of students? So for this particular standard, what I did was, instead of recording a video here at my school for our CSC and task scores, every teacher has to go around and observe for the teachers. So I used I uploaded my my CSC documents and my teacher observation forms for you all to see. What I did was just took that by observing other teachers, took some good and bad things from them to see what I can actually use in my classroom and some things I wouldn't use in my classroom. I was able to observe just how engaged their students were in the lesson. I was able to give them feedback, like, for an example, hey, this group of kids over here was very engaged, but you had 2 or 3 students that was kind of off task here. Identifying instruction practices, whether it was like teacher direct question and answer, what type of modeling, coaching each teacher did, focusing on the learner, which was the student action, and just the various forms of things of that nature that each teacher are supposed to be doing to make their classroom go very well, and what I got from that was that there's a plethora of things I can do to better myself, just as far as how some teachers maneuver through their classroom, how some teachers give kids a whole lot more time than I do in my classroom to actually get out how they're actually feeling and thinking when it comes to trying to answer a question. Allowing the kids more freedom to actually run the classroom. I've been told several times myself that I need to stop talking so much and just allow the kids to kind of be in control of the classroom, along with it is centered base and they're staying on topic. My mentor, Mr. Irvin here, who's been teaching for a long period of time, he's been giving me feedback for over the last 3 or 4 years now since I first started working at this school. So I just want to see what you have to say about this here particular standard.
Well, I don't need any rubrics for this. When I first heard the question that you read, and it talked about how does the candidate engage in professional learning opportunities, I must say, from the first time I met Mr. Taylor in 2014, he is a teacher, a person in general. More importantly, he's a person that is thirsty for knowledge. He's a sponge for knowledge. He's not afraid to ask questions. He's not afraid to take critiques, positive or negative critiques, and he's always willing to apply new information that he's learned. And when he applies it, he's always willing to ask, and always does ask, how did I do? What did you think? And then he'll go back again if it wasn't up to standard. I would say if a school had all their teachers with the traits that Mr. Taylor possessed, the school would be phenomenal. He's a wonderful young man to work with. He's always seeking out professional development. So if in the district here there's a professional development that is of interest to him, that may have not been identified by maybe his evaluation or even by me, he's always looking into other professional developments to improve his practice. He is just the type of teacher that you want to have in your building, because he's always seeking new knowledge, and not only seeking it, but once he's experienced that new learning and new knowledge, he's not afraid to apply it to what he's doing. So this has been a wonderful experience to have these weeks and months and years with him, especially during this time with this Teach Now experience. And there is no number on a rubric that could truly capture the level of professional learning that Mr. Taylor takes part in, or takes part of, or engages in. He's just a wonderful teacher to have. And if he continues, which I fully believe, if he continues to stay in his teaching profession and seeking the knowledge that he has done for the past few years, especially within the last months of this program. He's going to easily be one of those teachers in the district that will be featured and glorified and awarded for many of the great things that he does.
So, and I want to say, first of all, thank you for that. When we talk about professional learning opportunities, I know here we do a lot with LEAP.
Yes.
For Math Eureka.
Yes.
We do a lot of, well, during our LEAP meetings, one thing I have to say, I was very beneficial of you putting in place where the teachers ourselves, we would teach to other teachers and allow other math teachers to critique our lesson right there in front of us.
Yep.
I think that gave me some great feedback to go back and implement within my classroom.
Thank you.
I never knew how that was going to work out at first, but by me going in and to observe other teachers for my task scores, I was able to be like, okay, now I understand why Mr. Irvin said this or why he said that, you know. So just being able to have people critique you right there in person, and then you go in and observe other teachers who teach different subjects, trying to see how all that correlates across the board within the school building and whatnot. I think that was very good.
I think I want to add to that. So there was a time in the building that he just touched on where we were trying to identify some things that could help improve teacher practice here in the school. And I said, you know, how would you feel about delivering a mini lesson or mock lesson, like what someone would do when they're going to interview for a position at another school, and then having the teachers give you feedback about your lesson? Yes, we are a room full of math teachers or so-called experts, but we're going to act like we're the student. And then we're going to go from acting as a student to then tapping out of that and going into the expert. So how would you feel about getting feedback, some positive, some negative, whatever we see, we're going to just expose and let you and inform you. He said, bet. So that was one thing. But the other thing that he didn't mention was there was a time where I wanted to institute using a video recording the video recording your lessons. Now, many people in the building did not want to be recorded. I remember my first years teaching in New York City public schools. I didn't want to be recorded because I didn't know what it entailed. I didn't know how long they were going to keep it, so forth and so on. But then on the other side of it, coming from playing basketball in the past, I was like, well, if you want to record me, go right ahead. I'm not afraid, you know, because it reminded me of, you know, if I'm doing my job and I'm confident in what I'm doing, and I'm confident in the relationships I built with the teachers, that you can record it and you can send it to anybody. You know, when I presented it to Mr. Taylor, or the whole team, I should say, in our department, he said, well, I want to be first. And that's what I'm saying. Like the stuff that Mr. Taylor does outside of the rubric, outside of the Teach Now and here in the school building, it cannot be graded or it just can't be graded when it comes to that level of him wanting to know more and having that desire to develop his practice so he could be the best teacher possible. Just wanted to add that.
All right.
I don't know if that had anything to do with this, but I need everyone to know, you know, how important you are to this school community and this culture, because it's not easy teaching here at Charles Hart Middle School and dealing with disadvantaged students. And so I think you know that for sure, and that's why you do so much within the building, and that's why the kids don't want to go to lunch. They'd rather come and spend time with you. They don't want to go to gym. They'd rather come spend time with you, whether it's to do math or just to have a conversation. That cannot be measured.
Thank you. And I appreciate those great words, sir. As far as just professional learning opportunities, I think besides our LEAP meetings,
doing just peer-to-peer observations,
peer-to-peer observations,
peer-to-peer observations, sharing lesson plans, presenting at LEAP meetings. I would love to see you develop enough, what's the word I'm looking for? Enough confidence to be able to present at a district-wide PD.
Yes.
You know, so people can start to see and hear your name and know who you are. which is something I haven't done just yet. Maybe I have, but not to the degree that I see you doing it. You know, there's some great things ahead of you, and also it was wonderful to see you, you know, wanting to increase your professional learning and development by enrolling into this program and going after, you know, more degrees and more credentials. I didn't have a mentor when I started, and so I just wanted to do things in a different manner for a different reason, and I'm still in school myself. So, you know, to see you starting young and early and just taking that initiative and that drive to be the best and to be, you know, just to be the best, it's commendable.
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate for that great word and that feedback, and that'll be all, sir. Thank you.
Very well.